What is up, Soul Tribe? My name is Mack, if I am a new face to you. I am a yoga sculpt teacher at Soul 19 Yoga. So I know a lot of us have been spending a ton of time at home due to the coronavirus, social distancing, self-quarantining, all things that are very necessary for the well-being of our community at large in the long run. But in the short term, I know it kind of sucks. You know, we don't get to get together and practice at the studio the way that we're used to, but there are silver linings to everything. The live stream classes that we've been doing have been beyond powerful. It is so cool to see so many of you join together from your homes to practice together. So if you've been doing that, thank you so much. If you haven't had a chance to yet, definitely check it out. It's such a great way to keep that sense of community while we're in separate spaces. So as for Yoga Sculpt, I wanted to take this extra time that many of us might have to really break down a few postures and movements that we utilize in a sculpt class. Now, if you've ever been to one, you know it's pretty fast-paced, often in a packed room, the music's blaring. It's a party, it's a good time. Definitely try it if you haven't. But it doesn't give us the opportunity to stop and really break down every little movement. I give you every alignment cue I can to make sure you're practicing safely, but sometimes having that time to slow down and really break down and workshop these movements can be a game changer in your practice. So let's take this opportunity to do that now. First and foremost, basic squats. Now, if you've ever been to a sculpt class, you know that we do a ton of squats. We add other dynamic movements to them. There's just a lot of squatting happening. So let's make sure that we're doing that properly. Bring your feet hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider, just definitely no more narrow than hip width, okay? If we don't have our weights in our hands, we will typically press our palms together at heart center. Now don't just place them there, really drive your palms into one another. This will encourage your shoulder blades to knit together on your back, keeping your chest open and proud, okay? Drive all of your weight into your heels. Now you can see my toes already instinctually lifted up in preparation for a squat. You should be able to lift and lower your toes without affecting your balance or your alignment at all. That is how far back your weight is driving into your heels, okay? From here, we lower down, keeping our knees behind our toes. You probably hear that cue a lot. So let's see what that means from the side view, okay? Imagine that there is a line coming up from your big toes. You want to ensure your knees do not cross that line. In order to do that, you're going to have to sit your booty back pretty far. So palms pressed together, drive your weight into your heels, and sit back to keep your knees back as far as you can. So as we sit back, we have a tendency to want to let this curve happen in our low spine, but we don't want that. So really tuck your tailbone and keep your core tight. Draw your belly button up and in towards your spine as you sit back to protect your low spine in this movement. Okay? We also really want to squeeze our glutes at the top to ensure those muscles are getting some of the work. So as we lower and come up, really squeeze, 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 okay? I even press my hips forward an inch to really over-exaggerate that. Last thing with squats, Taylor taught me this in sculpt training, and it was a total game changer for a basic squat. I always felt it a lot more in my quads. Even though I squeezed my glutes at the top, I felt so much more in my legs than in my booty, and I wondered why. So Taylor suggested I energetically draw my heels away from one another, okay? So if I wasn't on a sticky mat, my feet would immediately go pigeon-toed like that, all right? Now our feet don't actually move, but that's how hard we're pressing outward with our heels, both as we lower and as we lift. Now even before I lowered down, I can already feel this like crazy in my side glutes, all right? So heels are going out, 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 while staying static. And then you feel it in all these new areas that you didn't before. So we'll go through the squat one last time, adding all of that together. Bring your feet hip width, maybe a little bit wider. Toes face directly forward. Press your palms together, draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Tuck your tailbone, keep your core tight. Lower down, sit back, draw your knees behind your toes, draw your heels away from one another energetically, and at the top, squeeze your glutes. Okay, so that is a lot, I know that. A squatting motion looks like we're just bending our knees and lifting up, but it is so much more than that. If you can really check in with all of these small items, it will be a game changer for you. It will both be protecting your joints and you'll be getting the proper engagement in the areas that you really want them for squats. So take a minute, break that down, try it in front of a mirror, see where maybe you had some misalignments, and definitely try that heel trick, pressing your heels away from one another, and see if it makes a difference for where you're feeling the engagement in your squats, okay? Another movement that I wanted to go over was a double 90 lunge. We lunge a ton in Sculpt. It's another movement like squats that we build upon a lot. We add dynamic movements, we transition in and out of them, we add the weights. So for me, that was one that was really difficult at first. It really felt tweaky in my knees. I did not like doing lunges until I perfected the form and also strengthened the muscles around the knees, which lunging will do that when done with proper form. So let's dive into it. We typically enter a double 90 lunge from a high lunge position, okay? From here, my knee is already stacked over my ankle. My heel is stacked over my toes. I'm high on the ball of that foot, and my shoulders are stacked over my hips. We want to maintain all three of those stacks while we bend our back knee. Now for me, I already know that means I need to step in a bit because we want our back knee to stack beneath our hips, okay? So with proper form, there's a stack here, knee over ankle. A double stack here, shoulders over hips over knee, and a stack there, heel over toes. We want 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here, okay? And then we lift up. So as we lower, 90-degree bend in both knees, stack, stack, stack. Scissor your inner thighs in to keep inner thigh engagement, okay? We don't want to just dump into this. All right, also here, keep your belly up and in, tailbone tucked to protect your spine as you lower and as you lift. So the biggest misalignment I see in lunges is that front knee coming beyond the ankle. It's usually a result of a too short of stance. People lower and lift like this, okay? This is not good on the knee joint. It might not hurt as you're doing it right now, but in the long run, that's a lot of strain on that joint. And when we are in a live class and we're lunging, the mirror is usually in front of us. And it's a lot harder to see where our knee is in space from a front view. So we're gonna take this chance, break it down, definitely look at the side view in the mirror, see where those stacks are. The nice thing about it being all about stacks is it's very easy to see from the side view where you're aligned properly and where you might be out of whack a little bit, okay? Another one that I wanted to go over was lateral lunges. Now, weights are not necessary, but we usually have them while we're lateral lunging. We enter a lateral lunge typically, at least in my classes, from star pose. Now in star, toes are out, heels are in. I will always cue you to bring your toes in, but I want to explain why that's important to maintain the entire time you're doing movements with lateral lunges. So as we lunge over to the side with our toes forward or even slightly in, okay, we are allowing our knee, while it comes forward a bit, it's in this nice even plane this direction with our ankle. Okay, if our toes are out, we're getting this very wonky and way less stable angle with the knee joint. Okay, so bring your toes in. Feet are completely parallel or even slightly pigeon-toed. And as we lower to the side, maintain that drive into the pinky toe edge of your feet. This will help keep your toes in and also help with stability and balance as you lower to one side or the other. Okay, another safety item with lateral lunges is to keep your spine super flat. In order to do that, you have to sit your booty back farther than you might think. I'll show you from the side. What we do not want is this, where we're just trying to reach as far low as we can. That curve in my spine is not safe. So in order to keep our spine really flat, booty has to go very, very, very far back and up, down, and up. Safe, happy spine there. Yeah, we often, like I said, add a lot to those movements. Biggest thing is keeping your toes in and your spine flat. Pretty easy cues to remember, but again, just a nice opportunity to really break it down, do it slowly, and notice how differently it might feel done properly as opposed to if there are some misalignments that you had been doing before. Last thing I wanted to touch on is deadlifts. Now, we do not do deadlifts in every class. Actually, it's semi-rare. However, when we do them, I see a lot of misalignments. Not necessarily dangerous ones always, but ones that are preventing you from getting the proper muscle engagement. Now, what I see most is this. It's this kind of squat with the weight straight. Now, I understand why people do that because we do so many squats, so that seems like the natural movement to be doing. But in a deadlift, feet at hip width, a little bit wider than hip width. Toes face forward, okay? Bring a micro bend into your knees and lock your legs here. We're not bending up and down like we do in a squat. In a deadlift, arms are straight, palms face your body. Trace the front line of your legs with your weights while maintaining that micro bend in your knees. Try not to bend your knees any more than they were when you started. Now I straighten at the top so I can get that same booty squeeze that we did in our basic squat. I also implement that same energetic shift of my heels outward. This helps get some side glute work, and for me really helps to engage my hamstrings as I lift. So drive your weight into your heels, heels drive away from one another, sit low, trace the front line of your legs, maintain the micro bend in your knees, squeeze your glutes at the top, okay? Last thing, super important, again, like the lateral lunges, flat spine the entire time. Now, if you find that you are rounding really soon, back off there. That's your stopping point for now, okay? You want to sit your booty back so your spine can stay flat the entire time. Even if that means you're stopping here and coming back up, great. You are still getting the work. You are keeping your body safe. And by practicing with proper form, over time, you'll be able to go deeper and deeper in a safe manner while engaging all the appropriate muscle groups, okay? So, those are just a few of the movements that we do in a yoga sculpt practice, but they are big ones, and I want to ensure that we're doing those properly. So again, take this opportunity, if you have some extra time on your hands, really break down those movements, check them out in the mirror, see how it feels when you make some of these subtle changes, see if it changes your practice at all. I really hope that it will. So if you are able to join us for another live stream while the studio is closed, definitely take these tips, apply them, see how it changes things for you, and definitely let me know. If you have any other requests on movements that don't feel right in your body, movements that don't make sense in your head, definitely let me know. I'd be more than happy to make another video, break down some other postures for you, or if there's other muscle groups that you want to work and you don't know which movements to do. Again, we've got nothing but time on our hands, so I'd be happy to work with you digitally to make sure that your practice is growing and maintaining while we are stuck at home. So I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. I hope you stay safe and healthy out there. Take care of yourselves. I cannot wait until I have the opportunity to see you again. Namaste.